Hello, my name is Chris and I'm a U-Haul hitch professional. If you're planning on towing a trailer with your Toyota RAV4, then you're going to need trailer wiring. It is required by the law. Now let's take a look at how we complete this install. You will need the following tools and supplies to complete this installation. Begin this installation with your cargo door up and remove the rear flooring. We're now going to remove this rear cargo tray by pulling these two clips using a trim panel tool. You can now gently remove the tray. We're now going to remove our rear scuff panel by gently pulling up and releasing the clips underneath. You can now begin removing fasteners for the side trim. Begin with the cargo hook using a 10mm socket. The second fastener can be found forward on the trim. Use a 10mm socket and an extension to remove it. The third one can be found behind this trim cover. You will also use the extension and 10mm socket to remove this fastener. Here behind the taillight with a Phillips head screwdriver. You can now release the trim from the side of the vehicle using your trim panel tool. Pull the black trim from out of the white trim so we can continue to remove our white trim. Begin releasing the white trim from the vehicle to expose the taillight connection. To further pop the white trim, there are two clips located here and here. You can reach in with a glove on your hand to protect from sharp edges and pull it from the vehicle. You can now repeat for the passenger side. We're now ready to install our wire harness. The yellow, brown, and red connector will go on the driver's side. But first, let's go ahead and pull the white wire from these, giving ourselves more room to make a good connection. You can now remove the taillight connection to insert your tow harness. A small flathead screwdriver can help make this easier. Now insert the tow harness into the mating ends. We're now going to pass the green connector to the passenger side of the vehicle. But first, we're going to thread it through part of the vehicle to keep it secured behind the scuff panel. You can use an extra length of wire as a fishing device. Tape your green connector to the wire. Take the opposite end and thread it into a hole underneath the trim here and work our way to the passenger side. We can now pass the green wire behind the trim clips and make our connection the same as the driver's side. We're now going to secure our ground wire to the vehicle body using the self-tapping screw. Before moving on to connect the power wire, let's go ahead and access and remove the grommet that we will pass the power wire through. We've now jumped up to the engine compartment so we can install our power wire. I'm going to use this U-Haul exclusive Power Wire 1. That's OEM quality with abrasion resistance built in. You can begin by installing the fuse holder to the positive terminal of the battery. Use a 13mm socket to remove this nut. Use zip ties to secure the fuse holder to the existing wire harness. We're now ready to fish the wire up into the engine compartment. Use a pole if you have it, or the wire that you may have used earlier. Find your brake master cylinder and follow the hard metal lines down and rearward to the back of the vehicle. You can now retrieve your fishing pole and tape the wire to it and pull it back up. We now want to route the wire behind any brake lines or vacuum hoses or electrical harnesses we find along the way to use as zip tie points. You can now connect the power wire to the fuse holder. Install the cap until we later return with the fuse. You can now continue running the power wire rearward above this trim panel. Use the straps for the gas tank and an existing wire harness to zip tie the wire to. At the rear of the vehicle, be sure to pass your power wire over any cross member supports, avoid any suspension parts, and bring it to the driver's side of the vehicle where we can find the access hole behind this underbody panel. Loosen any trim clips to lower the underbody panel. Now bring your power wire to the access hole and pass all the slack into the vehicle. We now want to make a small hole in the rubber grommet for the power wire to go through. We're now going to trim off a little bit of excess power wire, trim the insulation, and we're going to make our connector with a 2-port lever action butt connector. You can now determine whether you or the customer would like the 4-flat bracket underneath the bumper or if they want to leave it in the cargo area. Our customer is going to leave it in the cargo area. So we're going to unfurl it, get it near the spare tire, and move forward. If you want to pass it under the bumper, use the same access hole and grommet to route this underneath and put it on a bracket. I will link a bracket for purchase in the description below. Now reseat the grommet into position. We're now ready to hide all the wiring behind the trim as well as the converter box using double-sided sticky tape. We're going to affix it on the inside of the body. Let's go ahead and insert our fuse and confirm that every connection has been made properly. You can now return your underbody panel and all your interior trim and fasteners. You can now install your dust cover. Place on first the strap going fully over the connector and then using it as a tie after you coil up the wiring. That concludes trailer wiring for your Toyota RAV4. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to practice safe trailering, and we can't wait to see you out there. If you have any questions about the products seen in this video, or if you'd like to schedule an installation with your local U-Haul hitch professional, please visit us online at uhaulhitches.com. You can also download the U-Haul app using the link in the description for even more ways to manage your hitch and towing needs.